So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what I believe to be the 5 best current investments that are under $10 in the sports card market. Now, before we get into that, I did want to say real quick, we are on our road to 50,000 subscribers, and we really appreciate all the support, and we put a lot of work into these videos. So if you're enjoying them, if you haven't already subscribed, it would mean a lot to us if you could go ahead and click that subscribe button. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into the video. So the first pick on our list is going to be Jaylen Brunson's Optic rookie cards. Now, Jaylen Brunson has been having a real breakout season. Of course, we're headed into the playoffs. The Knicks are the number 2 seed. There's a lot of hype around being in New York, and the Knicks having a star for the first time in a long time, probably since Carmelo Anthony's probably the last real star I can think of. And when you look at Jaylen Brunson's scoring abilities, his historic last 10 games of the year, and his age, I think, and of course being in New York, playing for an iconic franchise like the Knicks and being the clear superstar in that team, I do see a lot of upside this offseason heading into next season. Now, Jaylen Brunson's higher end cards, his national treasures, a lot of those cards are, really seeing a very, very steep increase in price. We're seeing some super strong sales in his flawless national treasures rookie cards. And I think overall his market is, absolutely heading very high right now. Now, there are some cards on that list that haven't really moved too much. One of them being some of his Optic rookie cards. Sometimes it takes his higher end cards to move up first, and then it starts to trickle down over the course of the next couple months into his lower end cards. And I think a lot of his cards haven't really moved too much. There's a lot of good Jaylen Brunson Optic rookie cards you can get around the $2 to $5 range. And I think a lot of those are going to be, $15, $20 cards if he continues this trajectory. So I just think overall at his current prices, I see a lot of upside here. Of course, if you're going for cards under $10, you're not going to expect them to become $100 cards. But I do see them being great investments, and if you do potentially buy them in bulk, you can make a good amount of money there. But I just see a lot of great percentage increase in Jaylen Brunson's Optic rookie cards right now. Now, next up, we're going to go for another guy from that draft class who I think, is being overwhelmingly overlooked just based off the fact that the Grizzlies have not been the team that they were in 2022. That team that everyone thought was next up to really compete in the playoffs. And then Ja Morant pretty much hit a point where, he was battling suspensions. He's now battling a season-ending injury. And they lost Dillon Brooks. And there's a lot of, downhill momentum in Memphis. But I do believe that Jaren Jackson is going to be one of the cornerstones of their, franchise moving forward. And he's a really unique talent in the sense of his size and his scoring ability. I think he reminds me, of course, I'm not making this comparison to say they're the same player or they're going to be the same player when it's all said and done, but he reminds me a lot of a young Kevin Durant. A guy who can just score at such a high level, with his size being around 7 foot. So I just think overall, he's got a really bright future. Next season, we're going to see a healthy Ja Morant, hopefully a clean Ja Morant in terms of, focused on the game, no suspensions this time around. And I think, from the few games we saw with Ja Morant healthy this year, the Grizzlies are going to be a really exciting team if they can stay healthy and, overall just continue to develop. I think Ja and Jaren are a 1-2 combo that we could see in the West for years and years to come. And I just think right now is a great buying opportunity because everyone has been selling his cards and there's been no attention towards Jaren Jackson's cards. You can even get some PSA 10 Optic rookie cards of his for around that $10 range. And I think the upside there is pretty darn good. And if you do go for his color, there are options. You could get, a purple Optic for just $6, in a BGS 8.5. There's a lot of options that you can really go for Jaren Jackson's market under $10. And I just think overall his market has a lot. It's at a point where I think there's a lot more upside than downside at this point, given how low they've gotten. So I just think Jaren's definitely on my list of buys right now. But without further ado, we're going to hop right into our next pick, and that is going to be none other than Lauri Markkanen. I think Lauri Markkanen continues to improve and has shown such a bright light for his future. I think the main thing is he's on the Utah Jazz, and of course, right now they're eliminated from the playoffs. They're not in the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs, so there's a lot of a sell-off happening in Lauri's market, and his market is just still sitting so low for the talent I think he could be. He reminds me a lot of another, Jaren Jackson type player, to where just at his size and his scoring ability, I think in the league in the future, he's going to be one of those guys who we really start to see take a leap. I think for him, it's more so about opportunity and being able to win, because he's got the stats, he's got the game. It's just about the right opportunity. And when that comes, I think his market's due for a very, very big rise in price. It's going to be interesting to see. There's definitely a good chance that he does leave the Utah Jazz, and if that does end up being the case, and he ends up on another team that potentially he can have a lot more spotlight on, more national television games, all that, I think his prices are due for a very, very big bounce in price. So I just think right now it's another low risk, high reward investment, waiting for the right opportunity until that card really takes off. So I like his prisms around that $10 range. It's 2017 prism, not quite as highly printed as more recent years, so there is upside with this prism rookie cards in my opinion. So that is definitely a pick that's on my list as well. Now next up, we're going to go for another guy kind of in a similar situation, where I really feel that Anfernee Simons, has the game, he has the numbers, he's exciting to watch. I think what it's really going to come down to is the opportunity he gets, and whether Portland ends up building around him and Scoot, or he ends up getting moved. I think his cards are currently at a buy point in time. I think it's pretty much waiting for the right opportunity to come around, but this kid's shown a lot of potential, and I think buying in to guys who have shown potential, who haven't quite got that opportunity to showcase themselves in front of the world, it's always a great opportunity, because, when that time does come, when he does get that opportunity, maybe it takes a couple years, maybe it takes him moving to a new situation, whatever happens, I think his market's currently, just at a point where I'm like, dang, if I could stack up on his cards, when his opportunity comes, I think his cards have massive upside, given he's got the game, he's got the package. It's just a matter of time and opportunity. Some of his optic rookie cards are as low as $1 or $2. And I think for the talent he is, it's definitely worth the risk. There's even some numbered cards you can pick up for, pretty cheap. Under $10 for sure. So you can get some of his optic, his premium box at a $249. That's just like a $1 to $5 card. His red prisms. This is a card with higher upside. That is just around $10. So I just think overall for the talent he is, it's just about opportunity. And I think it's a good time to start stacking up on his cards. Now, next up on this list, we're going to go with someone who is in the spotlight and someone who I think has had a too big sell-off. We've got none other than the number 1 overall pick from the 2019 draft class, Zion Williamson. Now, Zion, what is different from him and a lot of these other players on the list is he's got the hype around him. He's got a lot of buyers in his market. He's got a lot of attention, and he has been playing very, very well, of course, up until his injury. I don't know when I'm recording this or when this video will be posted up, but he did have a season-ending injury pretty much, in that first play-in game. And it's unfortunate because he dropped 40 points and he was really having, a good, he was set up for a good postseason, I think, if he didn't get injured. So I think Zion heading into next year has got a lot of fresh eyes on him. There has been such a massive sell-off in his market. I mean, we're talking some of these cards right now that are under $10 that you can buy are cards that were literally $200-$300 at one point in time. And I just think overall with the prices he's currently at for a number 1 overall pick, who I still think has that upside. He's got a lot to work on in terms of maintaining his health and his body, and the Pelicans taking that next leap. But I think his current position, where his current prices are, I think they're back in the buy zone for the first time I've ever been really looking at buying Zion Williamson cards, to be honest. Throughout the whole time, I thought they were overpriced. over these last 4 or 5 years. But now I think they're at a point where there's a lot of opportunity. If you're able to just hold on and wait for his opportunity to come, for the Pelicans to take that next leap, and for Zion to be back in the spotlight. He's obviously got a lot of hype, so when he's back in the spotlight, there's a lot more buyers than a new player who comes onto the scene, which is a good sign. And I just think overall, his cards are back in the buy zone, given how cheap they've gotten for a number 1 overall pick and a guy with, that the overall public opinion is that he has so much upside. And so I definitely think Zion, if there's a time to be looking at his cards, it is right now. It's coming off of a season where I think we saw a lot of strong suits, and I think, if he has a proper playoff performance in the next couple years, we could see his prices really start to soar again. But I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at SportsCardInvest for monthly giveaways. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.